Blake Griffin isn't necessarily the same player he was in 2019 when he, Kyrie, and KD and Harden were all named All-Stars. But still, just to think that Blake Griffin is joining that collection of superstars is something that you could only imagine in 2K. But it happened. And in today's video, Eddie Vicente and I, Jack Trulio, give our thoughts on what we should expect from Blake and what he brings to Brooklyn. Please, if you haven't already, hit that red button down below and feel free to leave a like.
Thoughts of Blake going to the Nets, and what do you expect his role to be with the Nets?
I feel like his role really just be like, I feel like this is probably gonna be the best rebounding Blake we've ever seen because he's really gonna be he's got the most muscle, so it's gonna be him in the post. Try to get those rebounds because rebounding has been like one of their biggest issues when it comes to the Nets. We like to talk about defense, but rebounding has been pretty bad for them lately. So I think we're gonna be seeing Blake getting a lot more rebounds. But yeah, honestly, I mean, I feel like he'll just be used as a standard stretch big kinda, I feel like we'll see him. He does have the inside out game though. I feel like we're gonna be seeing that though, but as much as a role player, not as much as a Blake Griffin, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's been so weird with the signing, just like the different parties coming out. Like some people think he won't even play at all, which I think is a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not true.
Like, I get it, he hasn't been the greatest this year, but I can't blame him. He's probably banged up, and that Pistons team is terrible, and he was trying to do way too much. And so I think it will be a great thing for him. He, like you said, will be like the small ball 5 or, stretch big, playing a little 4. And, he's not going to be Blake Griffin of old, but he's still going to be productive for this team, and it only made sense to me. Like, he's still going to give you something defensively. He's going to rebound. He's actually a really underrated passer, so he could be like in the Draymond-esque role, but not as good and probably scoring a bit more. Not as good defensively.
Yeah, he'll definitely be better than DeAndre Jordan, though, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like that's a guarantee.
Right, especially defensively. And Jordan's been fine offensively because, you just put him in the dunker spot, Harden and whatnot can get him an alley-oop and he'll score, but just defensively, he's atrocious. So at least with Blake Griffin and Bruce Brown out there, you're switchable, and you don't have to go into the drop coverage with DeAndre Jordan. He just gets tortured in the pick and roll.
No, yeah. Blake Griffin, super athletic guy. I feel like we won't really have, because I don't know how many Nets games you've watched, but there's sometimes where oh my gosh, he's playing for 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden everyone's already talking about getting him out because he just can't play defense,
Right. And
yeah,
I've actually liked what they've gotten out of Nick Claxton, and I've really enjoyed the Bruce Brown experience. So if Blake Griffin can't do what Bruce Brown's doing, at least I would be shocked. And that doesn't mean take away from Bruce Brown. He's been outstanding. Mm-hmm. He's going to still be able to do his thing. But he can be outside now and be more of a slasher more than anything. So,
well, that's what he excels at, slashing and defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially both of them now. I think you hit it on it perfectly. I think everyone has, it's talked about. He's not going to be the same Blake, but he's not going to be an absolute zero for them. That would shock me. If they got nothing out of him. And if they do, it's not the end of the world.
I think, honestly, because Blake, even though he's not as athletic as he was in his prime, he's still, in my opinion, more athletic than most centers. And so I think, honestly, we're going to be seeing a different Blake, like I said, with rebounding and all that. I feel like he hasn't really done that much in the past because, he's had to score, he's had to catch alley-oops, he's had to do all this. He's done more of a perimeter game as of the last few years. So I'm actually super interested to see him put more energy towards rebounding, more energy, and especially more energy towards defense because he's athletic. So I'm sure he can. I'm sure he'll step up his defense.
Right. It's funny to think just 50% of what Blake used to be athletically is still an insane athlete.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
At the end of the day, he's just going to be a luxury to them because whatever you get offensively is a plus, and he's going to be keying you know, being, trying to do the little things like rebounding, help defense, making the ball move around on offense, making the extra pass, doing all the little things, being in the pick and roll, cutting, all that stuff. So, he's not going to have the load that he used to have, so you'd only expect his efficiency and everything to be fine. Like, I would expect, 10 points from him, 6 rebounds, and maybe, 4 assists would be, a perfect stat line night in and night out from him.
I think you nailed this, too. Passing. Blake Griffin, for his position, is a pretty above average passer. We saw that in Detroit. His passing is pretty darn good, and other than, Bam and Jokic, other than those two, obviously, because those two are in their own tiers of passing, especially Jokic. Blake Griffin, he's gonna be an exceptional passer for a center,
Oh, for sure. And think about it, you're going from passing to Killian Hayes and Sky McCulloch or whatever his name is, and Josh Jackson, to passing to Kyrie, Kevin Durant, Joe Harris, and James Harden.
And also Joe Harris is the biggest cheat code on that team,
Right.
Yeah. So honestly, this is epic. You can't. Here's the thing too: is if you leave you can't leave any of them open from 3 either.
No.
It's we've learned that you have to at least contest Blake Griffin though. But you're gonna have to leave him open, and an open Blake Griffin shot, that's not bad. That's pretty darn good. Same thing with Joe Harris.
Yeah, no kidding. They can all shoot it. Landry Shamit's been picking it up. Jeff Green's been shooting it well this year. Bruce Brown can step outside and shoot it. Really, besides Claxton and DeAndre Jordan are the only 2 people that can't shoot it. And I don't think Jordan will be playing too much in the playoffs.
Yeah,
so.
I agree for sure. Yeah, no, you nailed it, bro. Another thing too. If this is 50% of really good Detroit Blake, I think they'll be fine, because we've been seeing 50% of DeAndre Jordan, play with this Nets team. And so I'm just excited though for them. Do you think they can win the title this year?
Honestly, I do. I think this is actually a good year for them to go win the title, because who knows with Anthony Davis, and well, I think the Lakers have better depth this year. I still think they're beatable. I don't think they're the Warriors, where you're just yeah, LeBron's great, but look at that tandem. I feel with the Lakers, it's yeah, AD and LeBron are outstanding. I think we thought this last year, and especially if they're banged up, and then if LeBron's gonna be playing this many minutes in the regular season just to get him to the 3 seed, as they are right now. And so I think they definitely could win a championship, and I think they have some more moves in them. But I think as of right now, I would still pick the Lakers, but I definitely think the Nets can. They're kind of creeping up there where I kind of want to pick them, but it's just such a weird regular season, and it could be in the playoffs. You hope this doesn't happen, but Kyrie and James Harden and Kevin Durant could all be out because of COVID stuff. So
yeah.
It's just going to be a weird year, and just as we've already seen, just come back from the All-Star break, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were out, and then Embiid just got hurt, so that just changes their team.
Oh, no, I agree. What are your playoff predictions for this team?
Where I think they get to?
Yeah, because I should have phrased it a little bit better. Because James Harden, he'll have a few bad games in the playoffs, every year, and so I'm just curious. So what do you think? Do you think that will affect them a lot though, or do you think they'll be fine if something like that were to happen?
Honestly, I think it's hard for me not to say that they're going to make the finals. And yeah, Harden's had some bad games, but I don't see him checking out on this team, because he's the point guard more than the scorer right now. And especially with Durant out there, he's even more like the point guard than scoring. So it's kind of weird, but it's a luxury what you get from Harden right now offensively. And I would be surprised if he couldn't get to 20 points in a playoff game with him being the third option, basically.
Oh, I think he'll definitely get it. His scoring is it comes so easy to him.
Right. I think the Harden playoff stuff, yeah, hasn't been great, but that's what happens sometimes when you live and die on the 3-point line, like he did and that team did. And I would say, really, besides the Clippers series, he completely checked out and they made the comeback against them. That's probably like the only like terrible one. That might be a bit controversial to people, but we expect more from him as, one of the best offensive players to ever play in the NBA, but I don't think it's been that bad.
I don't think it's been that bad either, though. I feel like the reason why it does seem that bad to certain fans, though, is because some moments have been a little too much,
Right.
Like with his 8-game performance, or like the over 10 turnovers and all that. But I mean, that was like 2014 and stuff, and I feel like he's definitely gotten better about that since then.
Oh, no doubt. And if you don't have it going, like, you would expect Kyrie or KD to have it going. I feel like it would be hard for like all three of them to just be like absolute nothing is going for them.
Yeah. Also, I feel like they just serve the hot hand, kind of like in Golden State,
Oh, for sure.
Also, Kyrie takes it up a notch in the playoffs and becomes a deadly scorer. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, even with the Celtics, he was banged up, and I know they didn't win the finals, but he was still really good in those playoffs.
Oh, yeah. So, I'm sure they'll be fine. I just hope Durant's fine, though. Not with anything to do with his mentality or anything, just his Achilles. Because the playoffs, though. I mean, the game does slow down a little bit. Does become a little bit more challenging. So I hope he stays healthy, because I mean, it would suck to not have KD for another postseason.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to be and are being really smart about that. He probably could have came back earlier from the hamstring, but I think just more rest for him. Like, I don't feel like they're too worried about him, because like when he's been out there, he's been insane. Like, just to think over a year ago, he tore his Achilles and he comes back and can easily score 30 points a game. So I'm not too worried about the hamstring. I think it's just more rest for him more than anything.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, and if it's not, well, then that better be happening.